Hi everyone, it's Spicy Sushi, farmer of the plot, maestro of the plants, king of the jungle, and dyer to crabbies. But anyway, I am the person that did a mirror and 30 hours of harvest and ultimatum, about 330 exalts back at the end of the league. And then also, I recently came out with my 3 mirrors in 3 days at the beginning of this league. And most actual recently on stream is as a first part of my current stream challenge, we got about a mirror and 15 hours of harvest, which was around 162 exalts. Now, uh, I'm going to be doing this 5 mirrors from Harvest Challenge on my Twitch if you'd like to follow along through the whole process. There's a spreadsheet and everything for this challenge, but you can keep up with it at twitch.tv/spicysushi_POE. If you want to hang out, you can watch how I choose seeds, ask questions, look at what bases I'm using at certain times, because you have to adjust to the market with this strategy. But anyway, I do believe it is time to release a full updated guide for this league, a complete guide on how to farm harvest for profit in 3.15. Now, this is not aimed at SSF. It will be skipping over a lot of the things that an SSF player would look for in Harvest, as this guide is going to be optimized for making currency in softcore trade and could possibly be used in hardcore trade. This will be a 5-part guide. It will not cover an intro into what Harvest exactly is, because this already is such a long guide, but I will include a Wikipedia link if you want to read over exactly what Harvest is. But this guide is going to cover the 4 main methods of farming Harvest and why one of them I don't recommend as of 3.14. It's going to include the setup, Watchstones, and Atlas passives, plus how we run these maps, and how we get Harvest. And part 3 is going to be seed priority. It's going to be a PowerPoint presentation because it is a pretty complex process on priority of seeds. What this means is when you're going into a harvest, how you choose which of the 2 plots that you want to use. And number 4 is going to cover selecting your bases. I'm going to include a spreadsheet that will go over all the bases that I use and all the crafts that I use. So you will have plenty of access to that. And number 5 is going to be profit estimations. So this is basically, I'm going to go over how much profit I've made this league, because that's what matters. Breakdown of what percentage of each harvest craft was the full profit that I made this league, and all that. And now, lastly, I'm not going to cover builds. But here are a few recommendations on the screen. I think Harvest is really not that hard to do unless you actually like juice up your maps and do them very high tier. Then you're going to have some frustrations because of just the balance of Harvest monsters. But I think something like a Trapper, Ice Traps, Totem builds, where you don't have to be up in the face of the monsters, is a great build for that. So yeah, that's what I recommend. Now let's go ahead and get into part 1. The 4 main methods of farming harvest. All right, hi everyone. It's time to get into the 4 main methods of farming harvest. So basically, starting from the very top, I'm going to go over the method that is going to be applicable to probably the majority of people that are wanting to farm harvest. And this is going to be the low investment casual method. So this method is not nearly the levels of profit per hour that you're going to make with high investment or juicer method, which we're going to cover later. But this method is the most entry level, easiest way to get your foot in, the room. So basically, we are going to be doing these in Haywork Hamlet. And what I do is not this. So let's take these out. Basically, you do not have to do your mature watchstones from the start, but these are definitely your best in slot. Your second best choice would be Bountiful, and I would not recommend going below Bountiful. So if you can't afford anything yet, I would recommend a different strategy first before you move on to Haywork. But once you get some matures or some bountifuls, I would recommend starting with this method. Now, you would do 4 watchstones. For the casual method, you would take your harvest passives here, your 3 here. Keep in mind, these smalls, they give you the bountiful watchstone bonus. So these are really, really strong, and this is why Haywork is our main area for farming harvest. And you would target a second farming method. because you do want to get some nice chaos value out of these maps since you're not getting harvest every single map. You're going to be getting about 1 in 5 to 1 in 6 on average is what I've averaged and what the percent chance should be based on the wiki. But sometimes, obviously, you could go 12 maps dry. It just can't happen. So you could maybe farm some natural rituals in addition to the natural harvest. You could be doing some essences, some guaranteed essences on every map. You don't get essence on the map device anymore, which is extremely unfortunate. So haywork is definitely not fun to do natural harvest, but you should still see some nice profit. There have been plenty of people in my Discord that have been making 10 to 15 plus exalts a day, playing pretty casually, just getting a pretty lucky craft in the harvest that they get sometimes, or they just do harvest for a long time in one day and through natural harvest, and you know that they get money through that. Harvest is really strong, and that can certainly happen. Now, basically, you buy the cheapest red map you can run, or you go to tier 14 plus. You basically do the expedition league mechanic, and you want to alch your map because of this, so that you can get some more juice out of the expedition. You're going to do the map boss, so you can maybe get some decent drops on tier 14 plus, and then you'll do the essence or the ritual or whatever is in your map or you want to put in your map. Now, the next method is going to be the high investment method. Basically, it's just this exact setup, but I plug in this. Now, just this stone, this Sacred Grove enchant is going to be run you about 2 exalts minimum right now for 4 uses. Now, for a lot of people, that's pretty rough. It's not easy to justify that much chaos per harvest. It's like over 50 chaos per harvest now. But for me, it is totally worth it, and I have been doing hundreds of these this league. I've done probably over 500 harvests already, and the profits have been extraordinary. Now, there are 2 ways to go about getting this. This is a awakened or elevated sextant modifier. You can just buy these watchstones straight up, or you can roll them yourself. But there are a lot of frustrations that come with that. I will post a video pretty soon after this one to show you like a bulk sextant crafting session to see what you can maybe expect and what the thinking process is for me doing this, because I have done a mix of this and a mix of buying my own. Now, what goes into doing this is basically, if you want to roll them yourself, I will include a video, but this is just, you know, a short summary. If you made them yourself, now you would put 3 watchstones in any region, it does not matter, and then you would take a watchstone, make sure it's not like this, not with 3 uses. It can be any unique, but you want it to at least have 4 in combination with the Enduring Influence. You have to have this. You will be wasting too much money if you don't get this Uncharted Realms passive. And as you see, this is from doing a, you can either do Maven or one of these 5 invitations. You can buy a carry off of TFT for Maven or something like that to easily get your 1 point, because all you need is this. The Secrets of the Stones is not going to actually help you with mature watchstones. All right, so what we do is we're going to plug in our unique watchstone, and then we have our sextant blocks. So on each watchstone, we have Shrine here, we have monster packs. I've heard that Shrine and 2 monster pack is the best way to do this. And then you take your Awakened with your Uncharted passive, and you're just going to hit it, and then you're going to hope that you hit something worth selling. Now, these are about 1.8 to 1.9 chaos each as of writing this video. So you're going to want to do a big bulk session if you decide to do this and you sell the profits. Now, I think Path of Math most recently came out with a video on that. And so, yeah, that's it. But basically, doing that, you will make profit, but what you will not do is you'll probably not hit Sacred Grove often enough to sustain lots of harvest if you're wanting to do that, which is why a lot of the time I just buy them. But some days I will roll them myself, and if I feel like a little bit of a gamble, I do Elevated. Now, Elevated feels amazing if you hit a 16 Sacred Grove harvest, but it feels pretty tragic if you don't. So, anyway, now the third method is the juicer method. This has not been something I have experimented with yet, but I am in the talks with Mr. Khan on how to get this to work. basically, if you have seen Mr. Khan on Twitch, you should check him out. He is a one of the best lab runners in Path of Exile. He pretty much a lab runner is like a 1,800 to 1,000 movement speed character that specializes in speeding through Labyrinth to farm enchants. Now, what I would love to do is to put it together something like that for Harvest. The only issue is that you will be doing these maps in like 5 to 15 seconds sometimes, and this poses an issue on supply. This economy is not in the best state that it's been in. Obviously, everyone knows that. And so if you're burning through hundreds and hundreds of maps per day, it will dry up the economy pretty heavily, even if you're using Horizon Orbs. But anyway, with this strategy, you would run the cheapest map you possibly could, and you could actually run it on yellow. So basically, Chateau is what I was doing. Obviously, you'd have your Watchstones in, but I ran a tier 9 Chateau. I put my Watchstones in, and I just sped run these maps in like 5 to 15 seconds on a test build. No, okay, it wasn't. It was about 40 seconds on my test build. But yeah, so it actually was really, really good, week 1 at least. And I think it could potentially be the best profit per hour for Harvest, since you're not paying a cost. You're paying like maybe 10 to 15 chaos per harvest if you're just spamming cheap maps. So that could be the option, but the issue would be obviously the supply. So you would do everything like we've been doing. You would just not run the unique thing. You would just do the casual method, except you would do nothing except for the harvest, and you would just run through the map as fast as possible and leave if there's no harvest. Now be careful, because the harvest node can spawn on top of the expedition nodes, and this can be extremely confusing. So you do need to look closely. Now the fourth and final method that I do want to go over is Zana Method. Now, oh, one sec. Come on, thank you. I need to go D&D. Okay. So anyway, Zana Method. So I do not recommend Zana Method, and that is because Zana does not get benefit of the harvest passes. Now, the issue with that is because Zana has her own individual atlas, it seems. And so if you do a Zana mission and you get a harvest map, that harvest is going to be the most basic vanilla state of harvest that you can get, which is going to be in, basically like it would come from anywhere when you're just regularly mapping, like maybe at the beginning of the league when you're doing your map completion. That is the only harvest that you're going to get. Now, obviously, you can make money because you could get lucky. Like, there could be nice upgraded seeds, but that could, that could happen. But, so basically, you do something like Farm Mesa, and you would put in titanium watchstones with increased chance for Zana. You would just spam a map with killing the map boss, farm up missions, then bring them to Haywork, and you would take these three right here: Master of the Atlas, Paths Not Taken, Echoes of... Well, no, you don't need Echoes of War, but you'd take these two, and I think that is the minimum that you would need. You'd probably do Close Allies to maybe get some more Master missions. But this actually does work pretty well with the casual method, so I won't totally blow it off, because if you're doing your natural harvest, you can also be putting Zana missions on it whenever you get one, and you should do this. So that at like one harvest is better than no harvest, basically, for the casual method. So that is the situation where I would say that's okay. But yeah, I tested out Zana Method for an entire day, and I made like close to, I made very abysmal profit per hour, and it just did not feel very good. So I would not recommend that method as of 3.14, because obviously Zana has been, Harvest was incredibly nerfed for the the specific profit that people got from it in the past, from like augments, as well as remove ads, all the legacy harvest crafts. You just can't get them anymore, and the ones that are semi still legacy, like augments, they are so rare that it's really not worth doing Zana Method just for that. So yeah, we already covered the Watchstone setup and everything, and pretty much in this part, but I do want to go over the Watchstones and how they work. So anyway, part 3 is going to be this setup. Like I said, we do it in Haywork. These passives are, at minimum, you must have these 3 passives. And like I said, it's your choice for the other method. Now, the Watchstones. This is where it gets a little complicated. I have a lot of people asking me, saying that these mature Watchstones don't stack because there's no number in them. That is exactly what I used to think until I actually did a lot of testing. I've done thousands of harvests with stacking matures, and I have switched to, 100 without 3 mature, 100 with 1 mature, 100 with 4 mature, 100 with, 3 mature, 1 bountiful. And I really don't notice a difference past 3 mature, to be honest. I think once I reach 3 mature, it really is like kind of heavy diminishing returns. And so I do like to plug in a bountiful for my 4th. But also, sample sizes are just so different for everyone, and so like some people tell me with 4 mature they get a lot. But basically how this works is harvest crops have an extra chance to grow a higher tier plant. You can think this of just have +1 chance, and that is how they stack. So that the harvest crops are going to get a +1 chance, and then they're going to get also another chance and another chance. So they're going to get 3 extra chances. I'm not sure how many chances they get baseline, but this is just going to add 3 more chances for them to upgrade. Now, what this means is basically what I'll show you in one map of harvest. So I'm just going to take this pin, let's plug in our harvest. Now, if you don't do mature Watchstones, you are not going to see as many seeds as we're going to see. This is going to be covered more so in the seed priority section of this video in the PowerPoint. But this is kind of this is the example that I give for people on the Twitch stream whenever they ask this question, and so that's what I'm going to show you here. A mature Watchstone. So basically here we have our modify an item resulting in lucky values. You will not see this very often without mature Watchstones. We see our sacrifice div cards. I mean, you can see it right here. Do you see these tier 2s spawning? You are not going to see plots this juicy without mature on average. Such as right here, we have a lot of juiced up, leveled up seeds, And then, are there any other plots? Is this really it? Okay. So yeah, basically here we have our offerings and we have a few. So this is definitely not as good as sometimes or most of the time you'll get from harvest. Usually you'll see some more breachstones, you'll see some more scarabs, but we'll go over that in seed priority. But that's basically just wanted to show you here. All right, this is going to be section 4 and what I get asked about most on Twitch TV when I'm streaming, and is how I pick my seeds. And so I prepared this presentation to go over the thought processes that go behind picking my seeds and the priority of seeds. Now, we're going to start with seed tier 0. Basically, if you see one of these seeds, it's going to be a boss. It's going to be a massive plant. It is extremely hard to miss on the plot, and this will be a always pick 0 exceptions. Now, I know synthesis is not the best. It only sells for about 1 exalt on TFT, but you could get a sacred blossom, which I think is like 2 to 3x at this point. So it is like a 3 to 4 exalt seed, and this is guaranteed. At least 1 exalt guaranteed. So yes, it is still a pick with 0 exceptions because there are no other seeds that are just guaranteed 1 exalt. Now, these two on the left and the right, the primal blister fruit and thorn fruit, this could be anywhere from a 3 exalt harvest craft to a 18 to 20 exalt harvest craft if you get augment influence, which sell, I assume you'll be selling on TFT unless you use these yourself somehow. Now, this is fracture. It can be the wild thorn fruit. It's going to be a bear. It can be a fracture 1 in 5, which goes for about 3x. It can be a fracture 1-3 prefix, which goes anywhere from 8 to 12, as well as suffix that goes for 8 to 12. So yeah, always pick 0 exceptions. There's no reason why you would never not pick this unless the other plot also has a tier 4 seed and you need to prioritize. Now, let's go over S tier seeds. These seeds are good by themselves, even if there's only 1 of them on the plot. This is not the case for a lot of the higher ranked seeds, but if I see these, there is a high chance that I will pick them if the other plot does not have something better. Now, for example, the Primal Rex, you're going to see allows you to exchange splinters, breachstones, or emblems. Basically, what you can do here is you can use cheap breachstones and reroll them to Chayula, or like something like a Timeless Empire or Karui, and reroll it to Maraketh or Templar. Or I think I said Empire. Yeah, you reroll Empire, Vol, Karui to Templar or Maraketh. Sorry. And now the other one is Pale Court Keys, which are not profit. So this could be not profit, but a lot of the time you will get some chances at some decent currency, even if it's only one. If it's higher amounts of this, like 2 or 3 of these, very, very high value, and I'll almost always pick that if the other plot is not exceptional. Now, this one is also S tier. A lot of the currency comes from fossil, essence, delirium orb, oils, and catalysts. So all of these here are high value except for oil, but the others will result in some good currency most of the time, except for catalyst. Oils and catalysts oils is very lackluster unless you somehow reroll it at 10 golden oils, but catalysts are usually decent. Now this last one, people don't know this, but you can actually get tier 4 seeds from this seed right here. So this is a very, very strong seed. You can get any seed. It's just random, and people on the Discord have gotten tier 4 seeds. Someone got an augment influence from this the other day, and I've gotten some good seeds as well. Like I got a reforge influence one time as well. So yeah, these are good by themselves. If you see them by themselves, they should be high priority for you unless the other plot is really good. Now, seed tier A, I would prioritize these when there's 2 or 3 plus on the plot. This one is really it's really hard to judge this one, because when you see allows to modify an item result in lucky values, or it is very tempting, because there's about like a 20% chance, 15-20% chance that it's going to be a keep prefix or keep suffix, which goes from anywhere from 1.5 to 2 exalts each. Which is incredible just from one seed to get that, but you will only get that like 15 to 20% of the time. Most of the time it'll be a lucky divine, which don't really sell very often on TFT. They sometimes do, or if you are wanting to divine things yourself, you can't do uniques though, so it would have to be a rare item. But yes, that's why it's in seed tier A instead of S. And then modify Scarab. Even if it's in one quantity, I would maybe select this, but really with 2 to 3 you have a high chance of getting an upgrade Scarab craft, which what I've been doing is I upgrade my gilded divination scarabs to winged divination scarabs, and so that's really, really nice. Now some people have other strategies, but that is my preferred way to do that, because it's like 40 to 50 chaos per success, and it succeeds very often. Now the wild spike back. Now this is kind of a mixed ball as well. You can get keep suffix, keep prefix, but it is significantly lower chance than the primal scrabbler, and so you will not see keep suffix, keep prefix often at all. You will most likely see a reforge item more likely, or a reforge item less likely. Now the more likely does sell for 15 to 20 chaos each on TFT, but it is kind of rare that people buy it. It is not something that people just eat up immediately, like keep prefix or keep suffix, but you can use this yourself for various crafts. Sorry, I didn't mean to go in. You can use it for Elishar's Eli Hit Quiver or Cock Bow Quiver. That is going to be in the spreadsheet. Or you can use it for like a Ghastly Eye Jewel if you hit low tier light. Like basically what it can do is it can take low tier mods and change them into high tier. It's just like a 1000 more multiplier on hitting the same mods, and when it hits that same mod, it'll choose a different tier, but it could delete the mod. But anyway, so that is why that is an A tier. Now B tier, so these are a mixed ball as well. So Gift of the Goddess, if you can get it in bulk, is very good. Now the problem is you get 3 different options with your offering of the goddess: a dedication, a tribute, or a gift. Now the gift is the only thing worth getting, and it is lower than I don't think they have 1 in 3 weighting between the 3. I think gift has lower weighting than 30% chance or 33% chance, and so I think it's like 1 in 5 in my experience. And so you're not going to see this gift of the goddess often, but if when you get it, it is about 70 chaos. And now this one, the sacrifice div cards from the Primal Rex, I would prioritize it if it is 3 or more, because you are pretty, if the other plots are not like higher tiers, I mean, because you could, a sacrifice div card does sell to the right people on TFT for, now you do need to be trusted, at least trusted, I would say, or else they're probably not going to buy from you on TFT. Or you could just sacrifice your own div cards. But yeah, this does sell for like 30 to 50 chaos to the right person. And some days only like, well, no, I think 30 is the lowest I've ever gone. Some days people pay over 0.5 exalt for these. And if you double their cards, they'll tip you sometimes for like 1 or 2x if you double their House of Mirrors or something. So it can be a very strong seed. But you can also get 2 that are not as good, but still decent. So you will not see sacrifice div card every time. All right, Reforge priority. So basically, I decided to include this because some people ask what Reforges are the best, and the best is certainly crit and speed. Crit for minion large and speed for shield large, and then A tier is everything else except for lightning, and B tier is lightning. And I'm going to go over my bases soon, so don't worry about it. All right. And so as a last exercise, we're about to get to the exercise, but I do want to talk about some of these seeds before we move on, because some people say, oh, but these are good. Why didn't you talk about these? So yeah, we'll go over these. So Wild Thornwolf, you will not see this one as often because we use mature Watchstones, which will be upgrading the seeds to tier 2 and tier 3. But socket colors can be good because if you get non-blue to blue, or non-red to red, in my experience those do sell for like 30 to 40 chaos each, but they are pretty uncommon. Socket number can be good if you use like a soul rest and you bring it from no like 1 socket or 2 socket to 6. That's like a 40 chaos flip when I was doing it. If we go up to socket link, you can get a 6 link, but it is most likely never going to happen in less than like 100 harvests. And then if we get to element exchange, element change, you can sell these on TFT for like 10 to 15 chaos. People do buy them sometimes. I buy them sometimes. But gems, you can get a sacrifice. You would use a level 20. Like, by the way, I'm going over most of this in the spreadsheet. So if you can't keep up right now, it's perfectly fine. Like, if you're not understanding, the spreadsheet covers what things I sell. But Vivid Razorleg Grain, the gems, the only craft that I use from this is sacrifice a gem, and you gain up to 40 to 50% of its experience as a Facetter's Lens. Now, this is a bit hard to filter on trade because there is a Facetter's Lens filter, but it's towards the bottom near the gems by the gem tab, and so that's where you have to go for that. Now, I recommend, it used to be level 3 Corrupted, Enhance, or Enlighten. Oh yeah, it has to be corrupted, by the way. So it used to be corrupted level 3 Enhance, Enlighten, or Empower, and that would be a lot of money. That'd be like 60 to 70 chaos. But those are way too expensive now, so you really just have to do level 20 or level 21 corrupted gems, as cheap as you can find, and they should flip for like 20 to 25 chaos each. Now, jewel implicits, you can put implicits on like cluster jewels and stuff, and this does make them sell a little bit faster, I guess. So yeah, that is one thing you can do there. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the example problems. So you're going to see plots like this all the time, and we're going to go through about like 5 or 7 or something. I don't know exactly how many I picked, but basically if we see here, we have defense reforges, 2 mods that I didn't talk about, and then a 3rd mod I didn't talk about, and then these over here, but notice we have reforges, a rare item. And we see we have 5. Now, you remember this was, I believe, B tier, but it has 5 quantity, so this is a definite selection for us. Or maybe it was, yeah, it was B tier, but yeah, 5 times. There is a chance that it could be keep prefix, keep suffix, or some more likelies that could sell on TFT, or that you could use on your own items. Plus, it has caster and fire. So yeah, it's an overall good seed, or a good plot, sorry. Now, number 2. Notice we have 2 modified Scarab, we have mods we didn't really talk about, and then we have 4 gems, 4 life, and 2 we didn't really talk about. Now, if you notice, Scarab was A tier, and we have 2 of it, so this is a selection from me. Personally, I would go at this immediately, because I could get some upgrade Scarabs. Alright, looking at next plot. Notice we have 4 of, like, immediately when I see this plot, I see a plot with a bunch of stuff I didn't even talk about or care about, and then I see a plot with 4 of the S tiers, and so boom, immediately I would pick that, because that could be a lot of currency. That could be like 40 to 60 chaos on average from 4 of these. Now, let's see. Now we have another plot. We have our 1 of our B tiers, and then we have 3 of our B tiers. And so when you stack these up against each other, plus it has some reforges, as well as this that I didn't talk about much. The reason I didn't talk about this a whole lot, it's in the spreadsheet, is that the only one that's good is Harbinger. And so I didn't put it, I didn't want to confuse people. But yeah, this could be at least 1 like sacrifice div cards that could sell for that could be 30 chaos when you stock it up. This on average is not going to be good by itself compared to 3 of these. So yeah. Plus you have some lightning reforges, which are very low tier, but yeah. So just based off of sacrifice div. All right, next one. So if we look at these, I see there is nothing on this plot that really draws my interest. I guess I could get a Harbinger unique reroll. But when I look over here, I see 3 of our B tier and 3 Fizz, which is a tier 2 reforge, or a tier A reforge. And then we have socket colors, which we talked about, which could be, you know, a non-blue, non-red to red. So yeah, this would be my plot that I would pick here. All right. And here, this is an example of there are not 2 high tier seeds that really draw my interest. But I do see a high tier reforge. So these have 3 casters, but we have 3 speeds. And notice that speed was an S tier reforge because of the shield cluster. So even though there's nothing else compared to the reforges, when you compare them on a reforge to reforge level, the speed comes out far ahead. All right, and I believe this may be the last one, but this is kind of a difficult situation where it is really up to you. We have a 1 upgrade of the goddess, which is on average very bad, but it could be a gift, so it could be 70 chaos. But this has 2 speed, which is an S tier reforge. Now, this is like pretty hard to compare, so it really is up to you. And this is kind of an experience situation because I would pick speed here. The map enchantment is normally never going to be that good unless you hit the very, very small chance of map does not consume sextant charges, which is an extremely rare mod to hit. But then I would just go in this based on the speed and attack. All right, so that's it for the seed priority. I hope that helped you guys out a lot. And we're just going to go briefly over the spreadsheet and explain that. All right, hey everyone, we're back real quick with my updated for 3.15 Spicy Sushi's Harvest for Profit guide. You can access this by pressing ! Sheet on Twitch, or you can join the Discord and get this. So I'm not going to be hosting this in the description because it'll get overloaded and it'll cause a lot of stability issues. So if you want to get this sheet, you can just join the Discord. There is a quick link to get into the Harvest Sheet channel. You can just grab it and leave the Discord if you want. But I'm just going to be hosting it there and on Twitch. So yeah, it's going to go over what I use for my reforges for everything. This is my personal choices. I bounce between these based on the market. And a lot of people ask what the setup is. It's right here. A lot of people ask what passes are still. It's right there. What the maps I use, and a very important note. The most common question is, how do I know what I'm looking for on the clusters? Well, I don't either, to be honest. I don't memorize most of them, but I just know if I hit 2 notables on a medium or 3 notables on a large, I use my Awaken PoE Trade program. Just Google it, Awaken PoE Trade. You can actually just highlight that and post it in Google search. You will use that. You will just filter those 2 or 3 notables depending on medium or large, and you'll just search. And if it says it's worth more than the base, you can sell it for more than the base. But usually I don't sell anything unless it's worth more than like 60 chaos more than the base, because it's just not worth the time at that point. But yeah, this will go over all of the rerolls that I use, like how I use them. This will go over everything I sell on TFT. And yeah, so hopefully this helps you guys out. Also, the better trading add-on. So this will be in the Discord as well. So this will be specifically in the Discord and the Harvest channel. You can come and get it and leave the Discord immediately if you want. But Spicy Sushi Harvest, Basically, it's an export import code. Better Trading, if you just look it up, it's a Chrome extension. You legit will just, you will actually just hit import folder and you'll just paste my code and you'll have this. And what this does is you have trade searches. You can literally just click Chaos Large. If you want to do Chaos Large for Chaos Reforge, you can do Fizz Large, and these are already filtered pretty much on the item levels that you need, so you don't even have to check that. It has the passive skills filtered and everything. Has cheap emblems for your rerolls as well. Not everything is on there, but enough to make it, nice for me. So it has the cheap emblems that you can get in bulk, and yep, so there you go. Hey everyone, it's Spicy Sushi. I forgot to include, this is going to be the part 5 of the video. So basically, the only thing I can really say is that this league, cluster jewels are really the #1 profit-making part of Harvest. And that mainly comes from shield and minion clusters. It was not like this in Ultimatum because a lot of the profit came from upgrading Harbinger Scarabs, because those were like over 1 exalt each time you succeeded on those, as well as like Breachstone jewels, because Sheilas were more like 2 exalts then, I think. Now this league, those are significantly lower and clusters are significantly higher. And so this is going to be the challenge sheet that you can find on Twitch if you just do a !harvest, or it's also in the Discord. Basically, for this 5-day challenge I'm doing on twitch.tv, our day 0 at the very start, we invested 52x in Watchstones, as well as around 10x in bases. And so far, at the end of day 3, we're at 262.2 exalts. And I have not updated day 4 yet, but we invested a lot, and we didn't actually get a whole lot out of day 4, but it's probably more like 350 by now. But yeah, so on this, I do have the Better Trading extension, like I said, and basically an explanation of the investment and notes. Twitch VODs here if you want to see it. If you want to learn how I do Harvest, I have, you can click on these things, watch the VOD, or watch it live. It's going to be live at usually 10:30 or 11 CST on weekdays or Sunday night is how this challenge is going to be going. I have the logs, and it just has a picture of the stash tab. But yeah, a breakdown of the profit, I would say about 40 to 50% clusters some days, around 30% or 20 to 30% is like TFT crafts, and then the rest is really everything else. Like if you somehow get a T4, which I guess is included in the TFT crafts, but basically everything else is the rest of that percentage. So yeah, clusters make up a majority of it, TFT in the other, and the rest of it is just like scarabs and stuff like that. Not nearly as strong as Ultimatum, the scarabs I mean, but yeah, that's pretty much there, if people are wondering. That is a rough estimate that I can give. Now, what is the profit per hour? It is really, really, really dependent on just how lucky you get. Harvest is just, the sample sizes are very small, and I can't say exactly how much profit per hour because it also depends on your investment. But I do know from my recent 10-hour stream where I made about 62 exalts profit, it was obviously like 6.2x per hour, but I didn't get a single augment, a single tier 4, and I didn't hit anything over 5 exalts, and it was 6.2x profit per hour. Now, when I do get tier 4 seeds, and when I get like maybe 1 augment in a stream, or I get a little bit like with clusters, it can push up to 15 exalts per hour. It really, really is a wide range. But for some people, they don't like the RNG in that, but even consistently, when I'm not really hitting much, as long as I'm not getting incredibly unlucky, because there are some hours where I'm just breaking even, very rarely, but there are a small amount, but overall, it's usually 6+ exalts per hour is the baseline that I can give you. 6.6+ exalts per hour profit, investing over 50 chaos per harvest with Watchstones, by the way. I do need to make that clear. That is with paying 2 exalts per 4 uses. Now, if you roll your own and get lucky, you pay nothing for your harvest. So yeah, there is that to it as well, besides the base investment. So yeah, that's it, guys. If you want to check out the challenge, you can go to the Twitch, but I hope this entire compilation of guides and resources was helpful to you, and I'll see you in the next one.